Hey guys, it's February the 25th, 2025, and I hope everybody's been having a wonderful day so far today. I'm filming in a little bit different of a location this morning. I tried filming over there where I usually film, and it was so shaded, and the wind's kind of blowing right now. I was just freezing. It's supposed to be a really warm day today, but I'm just always cold, always, and I did not want to wear a jacket. I really just wanted to sit in the sun, and I was hoping that it was going to be sunny over there, but it's like, I don't know, about 11:45, 11:30, somewhere around there, and it's going to be a little bit later on in the afternoon before that the sun gets on that area. So I decided to just come over here in the front of my house in a nice warm sunny area. I really wanted to sit in the sun today. I try to get out in the sun, when I can. I just think that getting out in the sun is so important. When I was, bedridden for the few months, I had a really hard time getting out into the sun. And eventually I finally got my walker and started going out and just sitting on my back porch when the sun would shine on it. And I'd just sit there for like an hour every single day. I'd take my shirt off a lot of times and, just try to let those sun rays absorb into my skin, because I knew I needed to get some vitamin D. I was so pale during that period of time, and I'm already a really pale white guy. So it just started to really improve my mood, getting out into the sunlight and just sitting there. And I wasn't doing anything. I'd maybe get a book out or something like that, but a lot of times I would just put on a pair of sunglasses and take off my shirt and sit in the sun. And I would just sit in a chair. And, I had ascites so bad during that period of time too, and I didn't really like looking at my stomach, but I would just get out there and just take my shirt off to let those sun rays absorb into my skin and get that vitamin D. And like I said, it really helped improve my mood during that period of time. It just helped me feel better in general. So once again, I just think getting out in the sun is so beneficial for us. And that's what I was talking about the other day. We have a lot of rainy days back to back, overcast and stuff. I can just feel my mood just starting to decline. I'm just not as happy as I usually am. I just don't feel the way that I usually do. I don't feel as light as I usually do. I just start feeling like down, heavy. It's just not a good feeling. So once again, I just think that getting out in the sun, especially if it's out for the day, and I get it. If you're stuck in an office all day long or something like that, I completely understand. But, if you could take a break, your lunch break, and just get out in the sun for a little bit, I just think it does so much for us. I mean, we're meant to be out in the sun. But anyway, I'm getting off topic here, but I just wanted to share that real quick. I just think that getting out in the sun is so important. What I wanted to talk about today is something that I've touched on a bunch of videos, but I've never made a video just about this topic. I've never, just talked about this. Like I said, I've touched on different videos, but I've never made a video dedicated to just what I'm going to talk about today. And what that is the isolation that comes along with addiction. And it doesn't happen right away. The isolation is something that happens as we start to decline into our addiction, and the addiction gets worse and worse and worse. And that's when we start to really isolate. And that's when things really start to fall apart for us, when we start to pull off and isolate from other people, because all we want to do is either get high or drunk or whatever it is, and we stop wanting to be around people anymore. And I know for myself, that definitely happened to me. And I guess I want to start my story. When I was a teenager, in my teenage years, I started hanging around with a bunch of people that were using and drinking and stuff like that. And that was the crowd that I hung around with. Because, the thing is, I had tried so hard to find my identity over the years as a kid, and I just could not figure out who I was. But the one thing that I could do, and a group that I could identify with, was the crowd that liked to get intoxicated, because they accepted anybody. Your parents didn't have to have tons of money like some of the other groups did. You didn't have to live in a certain neighborhood. You didn't have to wear a certain kind of clothes to be a member of this group. You didn't have to be a member of this sports team or whatever. Everyone was accepted into that group. And we had people from all walks of life that hung out with us. There was the rich kids, the poor kids, the kids that really didn't have any friends. The friends had a bunch. People had lots of friends, but the one thing that we all enjoyed was getting intoxicated. And what I noticed as I started getting older, in my older teenage years, that a lot of those people, we started getting people from all different walks of life. Groups started pulling into ours. Because, like, let's say, for instance, like the rich kids that didn't really care hanging around with people like myself and the other people that I hung around with, you get a couple people out of that group that would start to enjoy hanging out with us. But like I said, that group of people, we just started getting people from all different walks of life that were joining up with us, and we became a unit of people that just liked to get intoxicated. And we were experimenting with everything during that period of time. I mean, if somebody had something and they had enough, we all tried it. And we did a lot of drinking and played around with a lot of that broccoli that I've talked about before and other things. And I just found that, I did enjoy some of it, but more than anything, I enjoyed the alcohol. I mean, it was what helped me get out of my shell. And I was able to become a different person, while I drank. I was able to be that funny guy. I said things that I would not say if I wasn't intoxicated. If somebody upset me, I spoke up. If I wasn't drinking, I let people run all over me, or people would say really mean things to me and I wouldn't say anything back. But when I was drinking, oh no, I was not that guy. When I drank, I would fight you. When I drank, I would speak up. When I drank, I became a jerk. When I drank, I became the person that I didn't like. As a matter of fact, when I drank, I became the people that I did not like being around, because I thought that's what people liked me to be. I saw the people, the ones that were mean to other people or jerks, that people gravitated towards those people. And I just thought that's what people thought was cool. So I wanted to be like that too. And I could not do it if I wasn't intoxicated. I just couldn't. But when I drank, I could become a different person. I could be that guy. And I started to morph into this other individual. And as the years went on, going into my 20s, I was hanging around with so many different people. My house was always full of people. My wife used to get so upset with me because I was always hanging around with people. My garage became the party hub. And my neighbors' houses too would, be the party places as well. But mine was the place to hang out. I had a heater, like a propane heater in my garage. I would pull my cars out, and I had a bunch of chairs in there, and we would just hang out in my garage. I was away from everybody. I wasn't, just hanging out in there, and a lot of my friends had become my neighbors. People would come over. It was just constantly in and out, people in and out, and it was just upsetting my wife all the time. But I didn't stop. I just kept hanging out, even though my wife had told me, like, you're not spending enough time with me. You're hanging around with your friends too much. And I was like, yeah, whatever, okay. Usual narcissistic personality that I had when I drank. I didn't listen to anybody else's feelings. I didn't care what anybody else thought. It was all about me. And through my 20s, I continued to hang around with more and more people, and my brother, and I was always out kayaking, and I just wasn't present. It was my friends, my kayaking, and that was basically it, and work. And then I got into my 30s. And that's when things started to fall apart. When I got to be, let's say, I don't know, I was about 34, 35 years old when I really started to pull away from people. And I don't know what started it. I really don't. But I started to really isolate. And when it really became a problem was when we moved here. We moved here back in like 2020. That was the year that we moved into this home, so 5 years ago. And it was this time of year, so it's been exactly 5 years that we've lived here. I remember it like it was yesterday. But, you know, like I said, my old house, we lived in a neighborhood. There were hundreds of homes in the neighborhood I lived in. Now I live out in the middle of the country. I don't have any neighbors out here. I've got the one guy that lives down the road a little bit and another guy that lives down the road. There's 3 people that live on the private road I live on, but that's it. And we don't hang out. What I started to notice at our old neighborhood is that I stopped going outside because I knew if I went outside, somebody was going to spot me and people were going to want to talk or hang out and stuff like that. So what I started doing is I just left my garage door closed where it was always open. I left my garage door open 24/7. I started to close it. I started closing my blinds in my home because I didn't want people knowing I was there. I would pull my car in the garage, close the garage door, and it would look like nobody was at the house. If somebody called, I would not answer it. I would silence the call. If somebody texted me, I would just leave it, unread. I wouldn't read it because I didn't want to respond to anybody because I started to pull away. I started to get into this place where all I wanted to do on my days off was just sit in my house, watch television, and drink. I didn't want to hang out with anybody anymore. And I still did occasionally during that period of time, but it started to become less and less. And then the catalyst happened, and that's when we moved here to this home. My wife's always wanted property. She's always wanted to have her animals on our own land, and we finally got it. And I was so excited when we got this place because I thought for sure that moving out here was going to be the magic key for me. I thought for sure getting away from all those people, getting away from all the triggers and all that stuff, I was going to stop drinking. But that's not what happened. We moved out here. I was still working as a chef. And about 10 months later, I had left my job. 12 months later, I left my job right at the end of the year. I guess it wasn't that long. About 10 months later, I left my job at the place I was a chef at because I thought that was going to solve all of my problems. I thought leaving my job, that's going to solve it all. I told all my friends I'm going to become a long-haired hippie and I'm going to quit drinking and I'm just going to smoke broccoli all the time and that's it. And I'm just going to chill out at my house. And I had my own business started and I thought this is for sure going to be what's going to help me along. And it didn't. As a matter of fact, my addiction got 10 times worse. And that's when I really started to isolate and stop seeing people. I stopped talking to people. All I did was drink. And I'm sure there's a lot of you out there who can relate to what I'm talking about right now because I isolated myself so bad. You know, the only ray of hope that I had for myself as far as communication and stuff like that was my job. And I did not realize it at the time. I went to work every day. As soon as I walked in the door, I had a good friend of mine who watches the channel. We would start talking every morning. As soon as I hit the door, him and I would just go on and on and on for hours because it was just him and I for a long time in the mornings together. And we would talk about everything, what's going on in my life, his life, our kids' lives, all this kind of stuff. And he was a good friend of mine. And all of my guys were good friends of mine, very good friends of mine. We all hung out together. They would come over here. They actually helped me move into this home. And, they would still come by here and see me, but I stopped seeing people as much as I was. And then it started getting to the point after we moved here, like I said, because I left my job thinking that was going to be the key. That was going to be the answer to all my problems. And it wasn't. What it did is it started to make me isolate more because I started my own business. And what I would do sometimes is, I had a job to go do. I would call my client and say, hey, I'm sorry. I've got something going on. I can't make it today. I need to reschedule. And then I wouldn't show up. And I would stay home that morning and just start drinking. And then if I didn't have any business that day and it was my day off or whatever, I would wake up in the morning. And as soon as I woke up, I started to drink. And I just, would lay in my bed all day long with the TV remote in my hand, flipping through YouTube videos or Netflix movies or whatever it is. But it got to a point where that's all I wanted to do. I stopped wanting to hang out with people. I stopped wanting to communicate with anybody. Just getting in my car and driving to the liquor store used to make my anxiety go all the way up to here. And I'm not kidding. My anxiety would peak so much when I had to leave the house to go to the liquor store. I mean, it got to the point where I wasn't even leaving anymore. If I had to go do a job or something, before I could even leave, I had to have a couple drinks just to get in the car, just to drive over there, just to knock off a little bit of the anxiety, because every morning when I woke up, my anxiety would be through the roof. I just thought about it all morning long. I got to drive over here. It's going to take me 30 minutes. And I would be on Google Maps looking for back roads and all this kind of stuff to get to where I was going, so I didn't have to get on the main roads. I mean, seriously, guys, I was sitting on Google Maps for hours in the morning trying to find the back way to get to places so I didn't have to get on that 4-lane highway for 2 minutes. My anxiety was that bad during that period of time. And then, like I said, I stopped hanging around with people. People stopped coming by here so much. I just wasn't a nice person. I just got to the point where all I wanted to do was be left alone to me and my booze. And probably for about 2 solid years, that was what it was for me. Of just waking up in the morning, drinking as much as I could until I passed out, and my alcoholism just spiraled completely out of control. And I completely isolated myself. I didn't even want to even come out of the house anymore. So many days, I didn't even wash. I didn't even bathe. I didn't even brush my teeth. I would get up, throw up, make a drink, lay in the bed. I would just set the liquor bottle right beside my bed. Throw a bunch of ice into a container, take my bottle of Sprite or bottle of cranberry juice or whatever, and said I had everything I needed right there on the table, right beside me. Or on the floor, and I would just mix my drinks in the bed. The only reason I would get up was just to go pee. And I can remember so many times it was like 9, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, and I'm on my back porch smoking a cigarette going, holy cow, I'm already so drunk. My day is completely ruined, because every day when I woke up, I told myself, I'm not going to do this again today. I'm going to get up, I'm going to go for a walk, I'm not going to drink, I'm going to try to improve my health. I'm going to try to get better. It never happened. As soon as I woke up and got out of the bed, my hand was in the ice drawer. I was throwing ice in my cup, mixing up a drink, and I was on my way to blacking out just a couple hours later, just to pass out, wake up again about 7, 8 o'clock at night, wake up so confused of what time it was. I was just having this conversation with somebody the other day, and I can't remember who it was I was talking to, but I used to wake up at like 7, 8 o'clock at night, and I would jump in the shower and get out and start getting dressed for work. And my wife, I would walk out in the kitchen and she's in there doing something, and she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm leaving to go to work. And she's like, it's like 7:30 at night. What are you talking about? And I was thinking it was 7:30 in the morning. And I'm thinking, I'm already late for work. What are you talking about? I've got to leave. She's like, no, it's 7:30 at night. You don't have to go anywhere. I would get so excited because I've got the whole night in front of me. I can get drunk again. I just got wasted, drunk, plastered, passed out at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, completely blacked out, slept until 7:30, woke up, and I'm ready to do it all over again. And that's what I did. Instead of just maybe getting myself something to eat, drinking some water, maybe taking some vitamins, trying to knock the hangover off so I wake up the next morning feeling halfway decent. No. I just poured more poison in my body. I just kept destroying myself. I didn't care. And then I'd wake up the next morning and do it all over again. And let me tell you, when I had a day off, I was at the liquor store the day before my day off. I'd buy 2 half gallons. I bought plenty of mixers. I bought 5, 6 packs of cigarettes. That way I knew I didn't have to leave. I did not want to have to go anywhere. And I stayed in my home the whole entire day, all alone. Didn't talk to anybody, didn't go anywhere, didn't have anybody over, didn't go get in my canoe or my kayak and just get on a little river for a couple hours that day when I had the whole day to myself. Nothing. Didn't go pick my kids up from school and take them to the park after that, or, maybe pick my kids up from school and bring them home and just hang out with them in the yard, or try building something or doing an art project with them or playing some video games. Nothing. All I cared about was me, isolating myself and just drinking to the point where I didn't know what was going on anymore. And that was my life every single day. every single day. That was my life. All right, sorry, my daughter just came home and her truck's super loud. I didn't want to have that in the background and her slamming her doors and all that stuff. But, you know, like I was saying, it's just my life became so isolated. I did not want to talk to anybody anymore. I didn't want to hang around with anybody. I was so embarrassed of who I'd become. I was so embarrassed of how much I was drinking at that period of time. I was always drunk. And when I say drunk, I mean not like drunk like, you know, where I'm just a little giggly or something like that. No, I'm talking about cross-eyed drunk all the time. And I've talked about people used to say I had the crazy eyes because one eye was looking over here, the other one's looking over there. They knew from the instant they saw me. He's wasted. Showing up for anything I had to go to completely drunk. You know, Christmas time. Wasted. They're opening presents. I'm passed out on the couch. Anything. You know, we go to my parents' house for dinner or something. I'd show up over there. I could barely even walk. You know, we go to my brother's house to hang out for the night. I'd show up over there, could barely walk. Halloween, you know, we often go to my brother's house because he lives in a neighborhood now, and we'll go over there. And I would be so drunk when I would show up over there. I would just pass out on his couch. My kids are going out trick-or-treating. My wife's walking around with them while I lay on my brother's couch, passed out. And I'm talking about like 6 o'clock. I'm gone. And I know the guilt and the shame and everything had a lot to do with it because it did. I'd become so lost and I didn't know how to dig my way out of it. I just didn't. And, you know, I thought about going to a rehab facility, but I was scared because I didn't know how much I was going to cost, and I didn't want to go in there and spend up all of our money on that. Or I always had this idea that I was going to fix it because, you know, that's what I did. I fixed things. I fixed things in the restaurant industry. You know, I used to get sent around to broken restaurants and I would fix them. That's what I did. I traveled all over the place, went to bunches of restaurants. I'd walk in, the place would be in shambles. I'd clean it all up, hire new staff, get everything back in working order, and then I'd go to the next one. And I thought for sure that I could do that with my life. I was so wrong. And it wasn't until the day when I was isolated in my house, I wouldn't go anywhere, laying in my bed, and just one day I woke up and I started throwing up black coffee grinds. And that was the day that started the end of my drinking. It took me ending up in the hospital and having to have multiple blood transfusions, and the doctor telling me that they weren't sure if they were going to be able to save my life for me to stop. And unfortunately, that's not the case for a lot of people that find out that same news. They continue to drink. I was just watching a video by that lady, Nurse Julie, on YouTube. She's a hospice nurse. She just posted up a video yesterday. If you guys are interested, go check it out. And the video is titled, "What's It Like to Pass Away Dying from Liver Disease?" I had to turn it off. It scared me. I didn't want to watch it. I don't even remember what my point was why I brought that up, but you know, I started watching that video yesterday because I saw it. I mean, it just popped up on my feed, and it was "What's It Like to Pass Away from Liver Disease?" And I started watching it, and it just truly scared me. And she said in that video, that's right, because she said that a lot of the times that people who have AUD, they're on hospice and they still drink in the middle of liver failure, and that the hospice nurses don't stop them. As long as it's not, you know, harming anybody else and they're being safe with it, they can do whatever they want. And she said it often really upsets the families when that's going on. I'm not going to be that guy. And you want to know something that's funny about it? I've actually thought about it. I was just talking to Slayer about a week ago, and I was talking to him about that. I told him that I've had that thought, you know, when the day comes and I end up on hospice, because I've been very clear, I am not going to pass away in a hospital. I'm going to pass away at home. This is where I'm going to be. I'm going to have hospice come here. I want to be with my family. I'm not going to end up in a hospital like that. I'm coming home. But I told them, I said, I've had that thought, am I going to want to have a drink when they come in? I've got a hospice nurse. I know the end is near. Am I going to say the heck with it? Give me my advice. Let me enjoy myself these last 2 weeks or 3 days or whatever it is. I'm just going to enjoy myself. But at the end of the day, I can't. I couldn't do that to my family. As I'm laying there in the bed on hospice, I resort right back to the same thing that stuck me there. Absolutely not. It's just crazy, the thoughts that'll go through your head. And that's my addicted mind, already trying to figure out another angle, another loophole to jump through. I can make the excuse, I'm on hospice. This is the end, and I can't even enjoy myself. These are the things I'm thinking about already. The thoughts that are going through my head as a way just to be manipulative, and tell people, I'm on hospice. I should be able to have a couple drinks while I'm here laying in hospice. That's the mind of an addict right there. Already trying to find the angle. Already looking for the loophole. Pre-planning. That I could at least get that little buzz on my last 2 weeks or whatever it is. I'm not going to do it, but these are the thoughts that go through my head. That's that inner monologue I was talking about yesterday. And shutting it out. Go for a walk. Do something to shut that off, because it happens in all of us. But back to the isolation part. Like I said, I became so isolated. I stopped seeing anybody. I stopped talking to people. I stopped hanging around with anybody. And it was just me and my bottle. And that was all it had become. The alcohol was my best friend. And I mean that literally was my best friend. And when I finally had to give it up, I was so lost for a while, because I really did lose my best friend, and I didn't know what to do anymore with myself. I had to rediscover who I was, and that took work. That wasn't easy, and I did it on my own. I didn't have any help from any outside entities. I didn't have a psychiatrist or psychologist or anybody helping me along. It was all me doing the work on my own, and it was hard. Trying to discover who I really was deep down inside. And I did discover that person. And I don't hang out with a lot of people now. I just don't. Because I pushed all of my friends away when I was an alcoholic. I still am an alcoholic, or a person with AUD. But I pushed all those people away. And I don't talk to any of them anymore. I upset everybody. I said something rude, just basically every single person I was friends with. I hurt everybody's feelings, and they want nothing to do with me anymore, and I completely understand why. That doesn't mean that I can't make new friends, and it doesn't mean that, I can't hang out with people and do fun things, and I do, but the majority of the time I hang out with my family. I mean, my kids are my best friends now. I spend all of my time with them and my wife, and I want to spend as much time with them as I can, because there was a time when I wasn't like that. If it was a Saturday or a Sunday and I was off, that was an opportunity to get in my kayak and go meet up with my buddies on the river in the mountains. That wasn't a day for me to go to a Civil War reenactment with my family. Absolutely not. That would have been a waste of a day for me back in the day, because for one, I couldn't have drank there. And, that was always something that was in the back of my mind. Do they have alcohol there? So I'm not going to that. Forget that. That was the first thing I'd look for. If somebody told me that there was some event going on or whatever it was, the first thing I looked for, I would get online or whatever and see if they sold booze. If they didn't sell booze, heck no. See ya. Not interested. No, thank you. Or if I couldn't sneak it in, if they didn't have booze, that was fine. But if I had an opportunity to bring a cooler in there, or to bring in my bottle in my pants or whatever it was, I was fine with it. And a lot of times I was able to sneak liquor in, because vodka it looks like water. You empty out a water bottle, you pour the vodka right in, you can walk right in basically anywhere with a water bottle in your hand. It's full of liquor. I walked into Disney World with a 20-ounce Sprite bottle filled all the way to the top with vodka. Was going into the bathroom with my book bag on, going in there and taking swigs out of the Sprite bottle. And then at the end of the day, I mixed up 2 super strong drinks and got so drunk at Disney World with my family. Left there, got back to our room, and I drank so much. I was in the middle of cooking dinner that night because I was always in charge of cooking dinner when we went on these trips. We would often go up my wife's dad and his wife. And there we are. I'm in the middle of cooking dinner, and I just went and laid down in our bed and passed out. My wife had to come in there and wake me up and say, are you going to finish the dinner or what? And I went in there and finished it and did a horrible job. But that's the kind of stuff that I used to do. And I know that today I was talking more about isolation and all that stuff, but I don't know. All these things have been just kind of coming into my head as I've been talking about this today. I guess, I don't know. I just wanted to talk about all this stuff today. But anyway, the isolation is real, and I'm sure there's a lot of you out there who have experienced it and know exactly what I'm talking about. And why we do that, I don't know. I guess so we can be alone to our own vices and nobody can tell us, when we can use them or when we can drink or how we can drink or whatever. We just want to be alone. Nobody bothering us, and it's just us and our addiction, and that's it. And we can be left alone to it. And we can really, really dive deep into it without anybody telling us no. I really think that's part of it. I don't know. I just wanted to talk about that today. And, the thing is that, I've moved on past that now. And, like I said, I don't have a lot of friends at this moment, but, I lost all of my friends because of my addiction. And, if you have pulled yourself out of it and you've gotten sober and you still have friends, cherish those people. Go hang out with them. Spend time with them. Spend time with your family. Get social again. Because I think at the end of the day, I think one of the best things that we can do for ourselves is socialize with people. Because I think that when we isolate, we pull ourselves out of those social interactions, and it starts making us even more depressed. And we don't realize what we're doing to ourselves, but we are setting ourselves up for destruction. And we're social creatures. We need social interaction to be happy. And I just think that it's really important to get back out there in the world again, start making friends, start hanging out with people, start going out for that lunch date, start, just go to the library, see if you can meet somebody there, or go walk around your downtown, or just go walk around Target, say hello to people. You just never know that you might be able to make a friend out of nowhere. You just never know. So anyway, guys, I really appreciate y'all watching today. And I'm sorry I jumped all over the place and all that stuff, but these are just thoughts that were coming to my head as I was filming today's video. So thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And until tomorrow, I will see y'all then. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.